Welcome to the Women Are Worthy show. Hello, everyone. I'm your host, Jacqueline Charles. Now, let me start with general housekeeping. If you're watching the show, please make sure if you want to be a part of our tribe, you must subscribe. I came up with that one. I'm just so happy because I'm coming up with these little doodad things and, I'm just getting creative. So again, if you want to join our tribe, you must subscribe to our YouTube channel, which is the Women Are Worthy Network. We're also on Facebook. We're the Women Are Worthy Show on Facebook, and on Instagram, the Women Are Worthy Show. So now, without further ado, I want to introduce a phenomenal guest. I've gotten to know her, and whether she knows it or not, she's adopted in my family. We're sisters now. So if she says no, it's going to be okay. But I'm saying yes. She's adopted into the family. So without further ado, again, I'd like to introduce Miss Deloris E. Jordan. She is the author of Please Don't Jump, You're Stronger Than Your Situations. I love that title. Deloris looks back at the oppressive situations in her life. One would think and say, not Michael Jordan's sister. No way. Well, guess what? It's called life. She's human. God is using all of Deloris's broken pieces to encourage us. And I'm telling you, when I say she has a phenomenal story, she is the epitome of what doesn't kill you, make you stronger. She is the epitome of when you're looking for strength, hero, superwoman. This is her. So the Women Are Worthy show, the Women Are Worthy Network, we welcome Miss Deloris E. Jordan. Hello, Miss Deloris.
Hi, Jackie. How are you?
I'm doing so fine. I don't know how I'm going to do this because we've gotten so much closer prior to this that I'm like, okay, what can I ask? But I just want people to know, can you please tell people who are watching, who is Deloris E. Jordan?
Oh, who am I? Oh, now I can say I am a happy, joyful, grateful woman. Long time coming. It took a while to get here. And having gotten here, I fight to stay here. I don't play with my truth. I don't play with my mind. I don't let other people play with my mind or my truth. And I am a woman that did not want to live, Jackie. Tried everything I could to not live. Tried suicide enough times to get to the very end and recognize that God was intentionally keeping me here. And I challenged him. I tell you this now, I challenged him and said, if you won't let me die, then show me how to live. Wow. I don't know how to live this life that you gave me. And I have to tell you, he has done just that. In the back of my first book, it says, better is the end. It's Ecclesiastes 7:8. I think it might be 8:7, but I think it's 7:8. And it says, better is the ending than the beginning. Better is the patient in spirit than the proud in spirit. And that's how I ended that first book. And he brought it all full circle. That is truly what I can say. My ending, I didn't see it. I didn't see it.
But looking at you, because people don't understand, we're what healed looks like. Okay, we are what healed looks like, and when you tell people what you've gone through, it's like they don't believe you. Like that, you're supposed to look like the situation long gone. Yeah. And that's not what God has, because that's why I love Job in the Bible, because God restored him and made his latter years better. And I can so identify with Job's the losses that he's had. So what I want to ask you is, and I know you get asked this a lot. Oh, you're Michael Jordan's sister. You're Michael Jordan's sister. How can you have gone through hell and back being with such a phenom? And this show we're not here to talk about Michael Jordan. We're here to talk about Deloris E. Jordan. What I want to know from you, can you just give us your backstory? Because I'm telling you, this could be a 6-hour interview. Every department, everything that we've talked about, you can help heal other people in their lives. You hear me? So it's like I have to narrow it down because it's an hour show, but we're going to definitely bring you back on because you have such an amazing story. Your book is amazing. So just tell us a little bit about your backstory, because yes, you're the older sister of Michael Jordan, but I want to know the trials and tribulation you've gone through, because you and I bonded via the trials and tribulation and with mothers and how we overcame a lot of things. So for those who don't know, please share your story.
Sure. So, and everything I'm going to talk about here is in my first book, so it's not like, if there's any surprises here. But Michael is my youngest brother. I have three brothers. I have one older than me. I'm the second oldest. So I have one older than me. Then it's myself. Then it's my brother Larry, and then it's Michael, and then it's my sister Rosalind. So Larry's 3 years younger than me. Michael's 4 years younger than me, and then my sister's 5 years. So a lot of my story started, when there was no Air Jordan on the horizon. So I talk candidly in my first book about being sexually abused by my father from age 8 to 16. So when you put that in relations to my younger siblings, and especially Michael, and I talked about Michael because that's what people know, but when I'm 8 and it starts with my father, Michael's 4. When I tell my mom at age 16, Michael's 12. So clearly there is no Air Jordan nowhere on the horizon right then. But a lot of what happened to me happened back in the 60s and the 70s. And I mean, I don't mind telling people I'm 62 years old. Michael will turn 58 on the 17th, and so he's 4 years younger than me. I'll turn 62 in April. So you're talking about the 60s and you're talking about the 70s, where abuse is so prevalent now in conversation. You talk about it now. Nobody talked about it then. So I didn't know what to do. I didn't know it was abuse. I just thought my dad loved me, and I thought he loved me a lot. And when I got old enough to recognize some of the things he was doing were making me feel uncomfortable, I still love my dad. He's my dad. And so I trusted him, and everybody around me trusted him. And so when the things were happening, and my mother and I didn't have a good relationship, and we didn't have a good relationship, having to do with my dad. We didn't have a good relationship before I told her he was abusing me. She just wasn't, she wasn't my nurturer. My dad was my nurturer. And so I probably was an easy target for him because, I clung to him, because when one parent is not feeling you, you kind of cling to the one that is feeling you. And while I didn't quite understand,
Deloris, your volume went out. I think we're having a little bit of technical difficulties, but she's going to come back in.
I don't know why I cut everything off, so I don't even know why it is coming in, but probably because my iPad also gets phone calls. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
But I clung to my father. That made it easier, I'm sure, because I clung to him. And with that being the case, I kind of think that it made it easier, I guess. But my mom and I weren't close. I knew early on, she left me for the first 4 years with my grandparents. So my grandparents, or my father's parents. So I kind of bonded with my grandmom more than anything. So when the abuse was happening, can't go tell my grandma because that's her son.
Right.
I didn't know how to do that. But anyway, I fast forward, I get pregnant on purpose because I thought that would get me kicked out the house. I often say I don't know anything about just walking away. It's funny because now you could have just ran away, but my parents were disciplinarians. So you didn't just run away so easily, I didn't think about it, honestly. And then, I got pregnant on purpose thinking that would get me out of the house because I knew I wasn't wanted in the house. And I didn't know how to stop my dad without offending my dad. So, I just thought getting pregnant was easiest. And then I would get kicked out. And then my mom made me have an abortion. So at that point,
Wait a minute, because you said a whole mouthful right there.
I know.
Let's slow it down here, because you said a mouthful. So when your father was abusing you from the age of 8 to 16, when did you tell your mom, and what was her reaction when you told her that, and if you did tell her that your dad was sexually abusing you?
I told my mom at age 16, and I'll never be proud of the way I told my mom. It was not, nice. I was being attacked that morning. Though I have to be honest and say I tried to tell her before, and my father was in the room when I tried to tell her, and my mom used to call me names. Names that I don't quite understand how I earned them. But I did, and I ended up having them. So with that being the case, I just thought, I grew up with the names being called, and you get mad. I got angry at one point, and tried to she was calling me a name, and I said, well, you know slut, tramp, and and I'm like, if I'm a slut, I'm tramp. You can't say that to me, and I went into this, tantrum, and like, do you know who's been messing with me? And my dad jumped in action, pulled me out the house, took me for a ride, said, you were getting ready to tell your mom, weren't you? And when you did that, you were getting ready to create, split the family up, and da 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 da. And he rode me till I got calm. He rode me until I got scared, and getting scared, I came back home, whatever, and then that's try to get out the house. And so when my mom forced me into abortion, I
Wait. So when you told your mom about what your dad did, what was her reaction?
Well, that's where I was going. Like, I told her that morning when she after I'd had the abortion, and I think the abortion, and I was pregnant by the guy that I was dating, which ultimately I ended up marrying or whatever. But I think it gave my mom it almost like proved her right that I was promiscuous, I was a slut, I was a tramp, or whatever. So I was hearing those names that morning when I just blurted out, if I'm such a slut, if I'm such a tramp, why you can't keep daddy out of my bedroom? Not the nicest way to tell her.
Okay. I hope you understand, because I want you, I'm saying this with love. When you say it's not the nicest way to say it, it just shows you that how much you still love your mom. And I'm not saying you shouldn't love your mom,
Right.
but that's just further showing us how much you were worried about your mom's reaction, because you said it's not the nicest way. But understand too, you were still a child. So I hope you're forgiving your 16-year-old self for telling your mom that your dad was abusing you and how you said it.
Well, what I do know about telling her that way, it took the anger to get it out, because I think when I wasn't angry, I could think about all the reasons why I shouldn't tell, and they kind of trumped my telling. So that particular morning, I was just so angry, and I was tired of the names, and and it also felt like my dad was doing what he wanted to do, and now my mom was doing what she wanted to do. And I just my body didn't belong to me. People were doing, I never forget when we were in the doctor's office, and, and the doctor said, Deloris, you have a decision to make. My mom said she doesn't have a decision. She's a child, and she's not bringing any bastard children in my house. So she doesn't have the decision to make. And the doctor said, well, it's her decision. It's not her decision. It's my decision. So I heard that, and, and so to me, it just felt like more of, I don't have no say about me. So, but I also know my father has said that if I told, I would get in trouble. And honestly, telling, I didn't know what would happen. And I know it wasn't going to be good. My mom was, a fire cat, and I knew that my telling wasn't going to be good. So that morning, the anger pushed it forward. And I don't know, Jackie, how much longer it would have went on had I not been angry enough that morning and was getting assailed with all the nasty names that I just shot back. But I knew at 16 I knew I was not my mom's, a child that my mother likes. And I'm not even trying to, I don't say that to try to make her feel bad. I mean, I say that, even in my adult life now, I just try to steer clear of her, because when you know somebody don't like you, or you get under their skin, you're breathing. And that's how I always feel, my mere existence. My siblings and I can say the exact same thing. I probably won't say it as harsh, because I know that it's going to be received so much different than they do. So, but it doesn't matter. My mere saying it is going to get me in trouble. So my gift to my mother these days, and I do, I still love her, and I have learned to love her, because even though you love her because the maternal part of it, she's my mom. But when you get old enough to know the inflictions and know the pain that's been caused, I'm human too. So you can unlove some people, you know what I mean? But because of God, and you're going to hear me say that all night long. There is no other excuse. I don't credit no man walking the earth nowhere with my survival. It is Christ. And so what God helped me understand as I grew closer to him, and that didn't happen easily, and it didn't happen overnight, and it was a long walk. First book was a catalyst, let me tell you. Some people want to make it about Michael, want to make it about the family. No, it was about me healing. It allowed me to get all of those things that had been bottled up, all the things that had been hidden, all the secrets that had been holding me hostage. Book set it free. And so I won't let anybody make me feel bad about that book, because I got my life. I can't even say got my life back. I got my life for the first time in my life. But in learning about God, the Bible says, honor thy mother and father, that thy days shall be longer. And what I came to learn over the process, he didn't say honor them if. He didn't say honor them when. He didn't say honor them if they do this. Honor them if they do that. He didn't say that. He said honor. He also says parents provoke not their child
to wrath. That's
Yeah.
right. That's right. You're hung up.
For how my mom treated me. He's not going to hold me accountable for how people treat me. He is going to hold me accountable for how I treat them. So, and I came to learn, because of my mom, I can handle microfans a whole lot easier. Because of my mom, it prepared me for speaking out. It prepared me for what the public might say about me. There's nobody in the public can say anything, absolutely nothing, that's going to hurt me as much as the things my mom has said to me. So it's been preparation.
So Deloris, how do you, because I want to know, how do you, because of what you've gone through with your mom, right? Because I'm interested in this. Your whole story is just amazing to me. How you walk through the fire. You're like Phoenix. What did you do with that anger? Because think about this. The first person a girl falls in love with is her dad. And 9 times out of 10, she will find a man out there that's similar to her dad, or whoever was the male role model in her family,
Yes,
right?
yes.
And then her mom, she then looks for friends or, girlfriends similar to her mom, right? So my question is, because this is how you learn to become a woman, how in the heck, when you had all this anger in you, what did you do with it? I mean, how did you remain the person that how did you work through that? That's the question. How did you work through that? You were 16 years old. You had all this anger. You're with a woman and it's really messed up. And I want to make this PSA. Mothers who are out there, you cannot call your daughters bitches. You can't call them hoes. You can't call them sluts. You can't call them MFers. That is traumatizing, because they may fight you on that, and they may act like they're tough, but when they go back in that bedroom, they're crying. You know what I'm saying? You breaking them down. That's what you're doing. Because I know when I watch certain shows, or I've had girlfriends, when they're talking to their children, they'll call them MFers and stuff, and I'm like, it's not my child, but you can't talk to your children like that. You got to breathe life into them. So my question to you is, what did you do with all of that? Because did you kind of create a split personality? You went to school, but when you come home, what did you do with all of this?
You know what? I look back, and I wish it was an easy answer, because it wasn't easy. The stubborn nature, there's a stubbornness. I'll never forget my mom, when I told my mom what my dad did, and my dad confessed, so there wasn't no question about I told him and then he died and then I brought it up or whatever. No, my father confessed that day. My mom, once I told her on the way going to work, she was taking me to work, she came back that afternoon and picked me up and took me where my father was and put me in his presence. Now say again what you said to me. Tell your dad, say in your father's presence what you said to me. And I was too far in then. I mean, I'd already said it. So I just said, Daddy, I told Mama what you were doing to me. And, he immediately said, what, baby, what was I doing to you? Other than loving you. And then I had to go into great detail. And it jogs some of the things when stuff is happening and you don't quite understand, you hold on to the details. And I couldn't go anywhere with it. I couldn't tell anybody. So the details kind of like set in me. So I voiced the details and they jog something in my mom's mind and said, oh, that's why. But with that said, my father confessed, and then I got home because we weren't home. We were away from home where the other kids were. But we come home now, so I run to my bedroom because I've done that thing that Daddy said I can't ever do, and I don't know what's coming, and I don't know, and I've been that bad girl because I've told, and so. But my mom came in. She said, your dad thought he was helping. All I can say is your father thought he was helping you. But in light of the situation, the three of us can no longer live here. And since you only have 2 more years of school, we think it's best to put you in a girls' home.
Wait a minute now. Wait a minute, okay? Because I know this has happened to you, so it's like normal. When I mean normal, you've lived through it. I'm telling you, you're making freaking tears come through my eyes because I have to. I'm not trying to be a rude host, okay? But you're wigging me out right now because I'm constantly hearing women who are calling me and talking to me, and they choose their boyfriends or husbands over their children. So you're telling me at 16 or 17, when you make this announcement and your father confesses, your mom turns to you, which is no fault of your own, and tells you that they're going to have to take you out of the household. Not your father, but they're going to have to take you out of the household. Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah, but I'm still a daughter. I'm still a daughter. And so I'm going to defend her, even in the truth. I'm going to defend her. Not that I'm going to defend that she made the right decision, but I'm going to defend that I understand the decision she made. I can tell you that now at 62, I understand it. Because, she had 5 kids. And my father was the major breadwinner. And we lived a decent life. And, really decent life. Before Michael got in the NBA, we were living a really nice life. And they were great providers. So I do recognize that I recognize years later, that if she had, put him out the house, our lifestyle would have changed. If she had sent him to jail, our lifestyle would have changed. If she had done anything other than our lifestyle would have changed, and she would have been this divorced mother or a single mother with 5 kids to take care of. I'm not making excuses. I'm just saying that I have now gotten on the other side of it, that I can look back and see with hindsight, where it put her. Now, what she could have done different, as far as I'm concerned, if she had even kept him, was get me some counseling or make me not feel like I was the cause of it. Don't blame me for it. Give me, because I'm 16. So one of the things she said to me as she, told me they were going to send me to a girls' home, she says, and we're never going to discuss this again. You're never to mention it, discuss it, or bring it up. Do you understand me? And I said, yes, ma'am. And then, but here's the thing. Here's one of the saddest things about that. I mean, so much of sadness in there. And I know I talk now with a proficiency,
right?
As if, it just rolls off my tongue. But it rolls off my tongue now because I don't cry the cries. I don't did the couldn't get out of bed. I've already been the depressed side. I've already done the suicide side. I've done everything that I could do to escape my pain, but I wouldn't turn to drugs. I wouldn't turn to alcohol, and I wouldn't turn to men. And in those things, my mom worked in my favor because I was stubborn enough to not prove her right.
Right.
I'm not going to be a slut. I was not going to be a tramp, and I wasn't going to do anything that was going to allow her to discredit me further. So I wasn't going to help her out. I'm sure. I mean, yeah, I was unraveling some days. Couldn't get out of bed, cry at the drop of a hat, angry. I feel like we live in a victim-prone society, which means I could have killed my parents.
Well, wait, 1 second, because I'm not telling you to stop because of that, because you know what you said, because I'm with you on that, because I'm telling you, I know me, and I'm telling you, I know what the Bible says, but I'm telling you, I ought to put hands on my mother and I ought to put hands on my father. I know what the Bible says, but see, I'm not okay, and it's not judging. I'm not okay with, oh, well, I understand with no, because you have women who are doing that. I have a couple of questions here that people are posing. Mr. Bridges said, and how did you not hold every relationship in your life accountable for what your parents put you through?
I'm sure I did. One of the things that you do is, if you don't work through the things, you take them from one, like, give you a good, like, I had had an abortion, got pregnant again, because I did not think about, well, getting pregnant again was two things. I did not think about, running away. But the other thing is, it was also saying, letting daddy know that I don't need you to do anything for me sexually, whatever. But, I think more of it was just, thinking I would get kicked out. So I went from I left daddy's house. Well, my mom made me get married the second time. And it was funny because I was going to be 18. I got married April the 10th. And I was going to get married I think it was like April the 18th. And my birthday was April the 15th. Tax day, yes, tax day. And I would have turned 18. So my mom moved my wedding date up to where I was still under her control, and made me get married. So I went from my father's situation, my mom's situation, my home situation, to being a wife and a mother.
Oh, okay.
And so I had my son, and then I had my daughter, and then we got divorced. So I've been abused, wife, mother, divorced mother, and I have two other people now I have to worry about feeding. So there were so many levels of brokenness.
Mm-hmm.
And so I equated to throwing stuff in the closet. You know how you throw stuff in and you keep saying, I'm gonna come back, I'll come back to it. Everything you're gonna come back to, everything you're gonna come back. In the midst of all of this, God gave Michael phenomenal career in the midst of all of this. So by the time Michael got in the NBA, 21, I'm 25. I have already, that's 9 years of having told on my father and dealt with the fallout that came, which was no fallout for nothing. I looked over at my parents and I looked over at my family, and everybody was laughing and going on with life. And I was the only one struggling. So what do? You don't want to be the odd person out. You try to fit in. So what does that mean? It means that I can't openly cry about my wounds. I don't even know what all my wounds are, because some of them are so fresh and some of them have started to get a scab on it, but it's not really healing right, but nevertheless. So when I would go down, and what's going down for me, get depressed, some days couldn't get out of bed. I still got 2 kids I got to care for. By the grace of God. I can't even tell you about the grace of God. Other than that, by the grace of God, God kept his hands on my children. And so my anger, I carried it into marriage. I got married. I tried suicide a couple of times before then. And then I met my second husband, came to Philadelphia running. I'm away from my family. I got married this time because I'm in love. And then I get here and weakened. And it's funny because I used to say this, my ex-husband, second husband, he was a man of the street. He stayed on the go, contractor, always on the go. I took many phone calls from women. I'm sure that was more than just clients, but you know, I didn't know any better. I didn't think about it anyway. But it's funny because, you know, I might be on one of my weekdays, and he would, you know, not want to hear it. He'd say, "Oh hell, I can't listen to this," and he turned around, and walked back out the door, and so I'm there, and I'm like, what am I supposed to do with all this? So all of these things are getting compounded. They all are just adding and adding. And yet my mom or my dad say, show up. We have to be XYZ to support MJ. We have to be XYZ because they want the Jordan family. And I show up.
So you have two brothers, right? Mike, MJ, and
I
Larry?
have three brothers.
Three
I have
brothers.
one older than me.
Okay.
Ronnie.
So here's my question too, because I have two questions. So just be patient with me. Brothers are supposed to take care of their sisters. You know, that's what they're supposed to do. Now, especially, and I know you're the oldest, and I get it because I am, you know, I have two younger brothers. There's a total of 8 of us, but 2 of my younger brothers, I mean, I just love them to pieces. I'm not saying I don't love my others, but I'm more closer to them. Everyone in my family knows that I'll take a bullet for these 2 guys. They can treat everyone else how they want, but those 2, they cannot touch them. You hear me? You can't touch them. Not at all. Because I'm such a fierce protector, because I didn't have that protection when I was younger and what I went through. But I am protecting my brothers, where it's to the point where my father won't even say certain things to them. Of course, I respect him as a dad, but certain things and people in my family. So I'm very protective. So I'm not understanding when they found out, your brothers, Michael included, when they found out, it doesn't matter how old you are, because at the end of the day, we're still family and they're your brothers. And you see these pictures with Mike, because it's just going through my head. You see these pictures with Mike and his dad. He loves his dad and everything. Did anyone have that conversation? Did any male figure, brothers, have a conversation with your father like, Dad, what you did was effed up. How can you do this to our sister? Or at least shun him. And I know you love him, but or at least shun him for what he did.
No, nobody's had that conversation with me. You know,
even now.
My mom and I, and I, at one point, MJ said,
I think she's getting
so that sound. It seemed like, you know, he was stuck between. And here's the thing, I have to take the high road here. I have to. If I didn't take the high road, I would lose my mind, because God wouldn't let me escape this family. So you know, it didn't. I say wholeheartedly, it didn't happen overnight, but I just got desperate enough that I tried suicide. I plotted my death, and my brothers. None of my brothers have. But 2 of them are younger than me. Oldest brother, he graduated Friday and left home Sunday, you know, going in the Army, and he was in the Army for 31 years. So nobody has ever. Now I'm the defender. You come at one of them, you coming at me. But you know, but that's me being me. I'm probably the fighter of the family. I'm not because I want to be, but I had to learn. My sister ever. No.
Deloris, you're getting a lot of phone calls because you keep freezing.
Oh, I don't see them.
Yeah, keep freezing on our end. But okay, we can continue. No big deal.
Well, it's not showing up on this end, but maybe I cut the phone off, so I don't.
Okay.
But again, my iPad also gets phone calls, so I say do not disturb, but I don't know how that translates here. But anyway, so you know, I've never, no, nobody's defending me, fight for me, whatever. And so, but if I'm Jackie, if I didn't have Christ, that I know.
You don't resent them? You don't resent them for not?
No, really? I don't resent them. Now I am probably 21 years into my healing, meaning from the first book. And then the first book, a lot of stuff came with that. But, you know, like naysayers, but, you know, more in the family stuff came with that. And I just had to keep walking. I couldn't look to the left. I couldn't look to the right. God, you said I can be free. I'm trusting you, and I'm not hearing anybody else. And I became selfish. I honestly became selfish. I'm honest to tell you, I became selfish. I no longer wanted to hear about what was in Michael's best interest. I didn't want to hear what was in my family's best interest. I didn't even want to hear what anybody else thought I needed to be doing. Because look here, my children deserved a healthy mother, and wasn't nobody trying to help them have a healthy mother. So don't talk to me about what everybody else kids deserve to not, they don't deserve to have a better image of their grandparents or their family or whatever. My kids deserve to have a healthy mother. And so what does that mean? That means put myself in counseling, step away from all the people who want me to put them ahead of myself, and start working on who I am. Who am I? Why am I still here? Why won't you let me die? It's funny because I don't date. I know I'm going to hear that because my mom even says to me, you're a beautiful woman. Why don't you date? And I look back at her. You're a beautiful woman. Why don't you date? But when you try dating on Michael Jordan's my brother. You know what kind of conversations they want to have? How many championships he won? How many rings do he have? You can't be the kingpin when you come to my family because there's one already over here. He has won and done so many great things. So you got to be a strong man in your own right. And it can't be about Michael. It has to be about me. But I'm not looking. So let me put it out there. I'm not looking. I know God has a purpose for me, and I am trusting him. And in the process of that, he's teaching me that I'm all right. I'm all right, just like I am. I'm all right with.
Deloris, what would you tell your 16-year-old self right now? What would you, looking at her, what would you tell her?
Oh, I would talk to her before she got to be 16. I would tell her that you don't have to keep that secret. It's not your secret. I'm going to tell her, if your family won't help you, go get some help. The Black race says, what goes on in our house stays in our house. But what I am telling you is that you're not qualified for to handle some of the things that go in your house. You need to go outside your sphere of influence and get some help. And if you're holding your kids hostage because you don't want your secrets told and your secrets are killing them, then I'm going to say that, you're not giving your kids the absolute best tools for their life. So get them some help, get them some counseling. They can't tell you how they feel. They might not want to offend you, or they might not want you to think different about them, or they might not want you to push them away. But by all means, please get them some help. So I would say to that young person, 12, like so many things happens now that didn't happen then. Like now, you tell your children, if somebody touched you, somebody say something to you, tell an adult. I didn't have anybody saying that to me. So, but I would tell the young person now, you are a child. You do not have to endure abuse. I have to tell you, and this sounds crazy. My dad took my virginity. For the sexual abuse, what my mom did hurt more. And because, it was a rejection on a mother level, you always say, you always tend to think that no matter what, your mom's got you. Now, I know every mother that has a baby is not a mother, just not, but you still kind of think in your mind that there's a maternal instinct. I carried this baby for 9 months or whatever. There's a bond here or whatever. And so you kind of want, but I also don't want this to turn into a, beat my mom up. She was young. She had me when she was young, don't quite know all of her story, what happened with her childhood. And so how much is generational, even in how we treat our children. What I think, me personally, think my mother made me a better mother. I absolutely thank her for that. That's why I can not be angry at her, now. I can now look back and say, I would never ever curse my daughters, curse my children. Now, don't get me wrong, I have cursed them, but not curse them about with names. I mean, like, I'm not calling them out their name, but if you
Right.
don't do XYZ, I am going to bust. You know, I've had those kind of conversations with my kids, but because my parents were very, they were authority driven. They say a word, they didn't have to repeat it, and so I brought that into my parenting. I would say to my kids, go do XYZ, and not going to tell you the second time because I know you heard me the first time. And if you heard me the first time, I expect you to move. So I brought those kind of things in there. But I also say, you're beautiful. I love you. And, my son, he's the oldest one. We used to do this like Corey. And he said, ma'am, I love you. I love you too, Mom. Corey, man, I love you. I love you. We do that by that fifth or sixth time. I love you too, Mom. But it was important to me to say that to him in his youth. It was important to me to say that to him. My girls, you're beautiful. I want you to hear that you're beautiful. I want you to know that you're loved. I want them to know that before they get in the street.
So were they your daughters and your son, do they know about what happened? Other than, I know you wrote the book, but did you sit down before you wrote the book and said, hey, I have some things to tell you, this has gone on, and did you talk to them about it? Like,
but we have talked about it, even as I was writing a book, but also they've seen fallout, they've seen issues, they've seen issues within me and the family. Everybody in my family on both sides, my mom's side and my dad's side. Some of the family friends, they say, I always wondered where you were, or I always wondered why they didn't talk about you. I always wondered why they didn't have anything nice to say about you. So some of it was just notice, but with my children, you know they are their own individuals. I don't need them fighting for me. So when they were being pulled into situations, I would tell them, stop, go back and tell your grandma, go back and tell your uncle that, Uncle Michael, that's between you and my mom.
mm-hmm.
Help. I need them to see you as your own self. I don't need you fighting for me. And I don't need you letting them pull you into it. So when they start talking about it, just say, Uncle Michael, that's between you and my mom. Grandmama, that's between you and my mom. And that way, keeping them out of it. And even though it's funny because my kids were never allowed, you're not allowed to talk back to my siblings. You're not allowed to be disrespectful to my mom. So even if they got irritated by something and they'll call me like, XYZ happened, I'm like, okay, well, how did you handle that? Okay, well, whatever, it's all right for you to let your disappointment be known, but you don't get to disrespect them.
You have to be respectful in that.
Yeah. And so easily we do know, I could say, well, tell them XYZ, da 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 da, and let them feed off of my anger, or let them feed off of how I felt, but that's not fair to them. So they and that's just why I have kept it. So over the years, my kids know, and when the book came out, they felt the one case, my daughter was in college and she had a Michael Jordan scholarship. It got taken from her, and she was a great student.
We got a response here, and I got to say, I got to co-sign with this person. But question that I have is, was your children born before your father died?
Oh yeah, my kids were the first kids, and they were the only kids for 9 years. So they were like everybody's babies.
Okay, so he was around when they
were.
So did you feel, did they spend the night or any time over there with them, with your mom, and they spent the night, and you were okay knowing what he did to you?
They spent the night. Yeah, they spent the night. And it's funny though, my son has just been, he's the oldest, and he was everybody's child. Grandparents, great grandparents. My brother Michael come in from college. He stopped at my house before he go home to get the kids and take them home with him. Larry always got the kids. So, but yeah, they went. Now my daughter is funny. Sherry was so attached to me. I breastfed her, so that's one thing. I didn't breastfeed my son, but I breastfed her, that she would go to my parents' house, and it's funny. My dad would come get my son, and my mom would come get my daughter, and so, or they would each do stuff with one would do stuff with my son, and one do, but Sherry, it was funny. She stay all day. Stay all day.
Well, how did you feel? Well, let me read this comment here, because I got a question to ask, because I'm getting a text on that question, so I have to read it. Someone said, and still no resentment. You're better than me in Jesus' name. Look, the person who made that comment, let me tell you something, okay? I'm in agreement with you, because see, this is a holy woman and she got it down. I'm not playing that. And I'm not saying I'm better than her. No, it's no judgment. No judgment, because remember, you've gone through the healing process. We all do things differently. Because me, you ain't seeing my kids. You ain't seeing me. If you want to see your kids, here's a camera. You can see your kids, because I'm not trusting you. The fact that first of all, you didn't get help. Not you, him. This is how me, not you, Deloris. Mm-hmm. You didn't get help, okay, for what you did to me. You took my virginity, but it doesn't matter. You had sex with me. You're my biological father. You didn't get help. I'm out here living in hell. My mama done put me out because of, she chose you and all that kind of stuff. Okay. And then I'm giving birth to some children, and you are not seeing my kids, because number one, I'm thinking the same thing you did to me, you're gonna do to our child, because you did not receive help. I'm telling you, and I say you like he said, you better than him. You better than him. No resentment in Jesus' name. Let me tell you something. The pyromania in me would have happened. The pookies. I'm just telling you, the pookies would have happened, because, and I'm just here. It's not attacking. What I'm saying is, I want to be like that. I think I'm there now, because I told you what I've gone through in my life and stuff. But that particular incident, I didn't, and it's no judgment. Sometimes too, it's good to hear how other people would react, because then we need
the explanation.
We need to strive to be like that, Deloris. That's what I'm trying to say. So it's not putting you down. We got to strive, because I'm telling you, any man put any hands, I don't care who it is, my husband, whoever, I can't even say the word I want to say, but I think Bridges know exactly what I'm saying, because I'm coming for you. Okay? And the fact that you and the whole family is not talking about it, there's some sort of dysfunction going on. We all got dysfunctions.
Yeah. Without a doubt. Look, I don't want anybody to think it's the holier than thou. Me, I mean, honestly, I don't. I just I went through my anger. I think the other part of that was that when I'm out the house, but they still are very much part of my life. And you don't, and you hold on, because you don't, this is the only family you have. So I might cry, and then they say show up, I show up.
Even now?
Oh, not now.
Okay.
Not now. Now now I'm at a point where I love me. I love me too much to be subjected to your dysfunction.
Okay.
So you can be in my life, but it's got to be
on your terms.
We're dealing with the truth, not sugarcoating it. I'm not bearing it down. I'm not even trying to throw it up in your face either. But what you don't get to do is rewrite it, because it's more beneficial to you. No, because what I found and what the first book did with this, and I'm living this private hell, and I'm going out to events because I'm told to be there.
Right.
And, people are saying, oh, how wonderful it is. Don't you feel so blessed to be in Michael Jordan's family? And your brother's terrific. And your parents are, my mom got Mother of the Year awards. My dad. So I'm nodding, because first of all, I'm not strong enough to say anything different than that.
Right.
Secondly, anything I say is become news, and now I'm already going to be even more under the 8 ball.
Yeah.
So I nod, I go along, and then I go home and fall apart, and the reality, I go home and the real us show up, and then, another gig comes or whatever, and you go back and you do it, put on, one thing my mom said, get up. wash your face, put on a nice suit, and go out in the world. The world doesn't have to know that you're breaking inside. And, you know, and that's so true. But here's what happens with that person. You are, after a while, you're going to be confused about who you are. Because now you're trying to fit in to who everybody wants you to be, that you're losing yourself in the process. So what I ended up doing is I didn't know who I was. I had been my father's sex toy. I had been my mom's verbal punching bag. I have been a wife, a mother, you know, got in relationships and, you know, got literally got physically beat in a relationship and did not know that it wasn't love. You know, because
And you couldn't call your siblings to.
oh no, that they never been again. I'm sadly, and I don't mean this is I was the fighter, not the fighter that like I'm out looking for fights.
Right,
But
the defender.
Yeah, I'm the, you know, I'm the one that quick mouth, don't back down. Because here's the thing, I couldn't fight my parents.
Right.
So, you know, you fight who, you're not out looking for fights, but you can't fight your parents. So, you know, somebody come, you can let release that way. You know, if it's a release, it could be just a reaction. But in my 20s, guy I dated, we fought. And I did not know the first time he slapped me to walk. The first time he slapped me, I fought back. And then, I mean, that's true. You know, I never forget. He slapped me and went and lay down across the bed. I put his shotgun together and put it on his nose. Seriously. So I'm not bragging about it. I'm just telling you that, you know, now my daughters get hit, leave. That's not love. You know, that's where I'm at with that, you know. But I say again, I just look at it different. My son hit somebody. Do you think I'm not going to be on that woman's side? You know, absolutely. You got to hit her. You don't need her. You know, that type of thing. But no, I didn't have any of that. I didn't have any of that. None of that.
So, Deloris, here's my question to you, because if my sibling, if it happened to me and I then tell my daughter that this is what her granddad did, because I have to let her know, because in order for me to be, because I'm in prison, and in order for me to be free of this hell, this prison I'm in, I need to talk about it or write about it in a book to release it. It's not for other people, it's for me, you know? So did you decide to, when you put that on them, you know, told them what happened, did you let them go to therapy to see what, because you know, when you're in front of your parents, you'll say whatever because you're afraid of possibly hurting their feelings or getting them upset.
Right,
so you may not tell them the real deal of how you really feel, because if one of my siblings, you know, came and told me this, or let's say my dad told me his dad did that, I'm gonna be shocked. But as you could tell with me, I'm a hothead anyway, so I'm gonna explode anyway. But my question to you is, you need some place to put that, because who wants to hear that their granddad did this to their mom? So did you seek counseling for them?
I did not seek, I mean, in my youth, I did not seek counseling for them. I mean, honestly, it took me a minute to get counseling for me, but then, you know, as a mother, I didn't think about what that might have done to them. Only thing I kept saying, then, this is not your battle. This is not your battle. And I'm sure my two older ones probably talked to their friends. I mean, we have talked about it since, and they're adult, and they haven't said anything that would, in terms of resentment, the fact that I didn't get them any help. Honestly, in my ignorance, in my lack of knowledge, in my whatever, life went on. And
Right.
you know, even with them, this is their family. You know, which brings me back to the book. These are things that I'm saying now is why I can tell, right, especially the last book. And you know, I told you I wasn't even going to reprint the first book because
You
I
better
feel like,
reprint that book. You
yeah,
better
well,
reprint
now
it.
it sells out.
Yeah.
It goes. And I wasn't going to reprint it because I knew printing the new book,
Mm-hmm.
I feared that printing the new book was going to reignite the old book. And I'm so far moved from the old book that when people try to take me back there, that's not where I am. That's where I was, but it's not where I am. But what I recognize about the old book, and it flew off I stopped promoting. It was funny because people said Michael stopped her from writing a book, or Michael disowned her, or all these things, as if Michael has the power to do all of that. But no, my conversation along the way when I would go out promoting a book, it changed in my focus. Honestly, I can't tell you what day it was, but one day I found that I was talking more about Christ than I was talking about Deloris.
Mm-hmm.
And the conversation, and I was getting invited to come talk about Christ. And it just seemed like the book helped me to start talking. And then I met so many Delorises out there that it became less about me and how can I be a voice to encourage those who's in the midst of it. So when I knew that this book was going to possibly awaken the old book, and it concerned me a little bit because I was like, wow, it's going to take me back. But then what I come to recognize is people cannot appreciate the new book because the new book is, again, you're stronger in your situation. How do you know, Dolores, you're stronger in your situation? Well, you got to know where I've been. You got to know where I've come through. And so that's why the old book is out there. And that's why it's flying off the shelves or whatever. But in terms of anger, I have no explanation beyond the fact that I changed the narrative of my story. And what do I mean when I say that? The chains off of me. So I'm no longer, nobody should ever expect me to endorse that, oh, it's so wonderful to be in Michael Jordan's family. That's, I have learned to be in Michael Jordan's family. I didn't always think it was a good thing. And for minutes it didn't. And I now use being in Michael Jordan family, and I don't feel bad about it because these are things that God has given me. He put me in the family. He allowed me to have the experience. He kept me strong in the midst of the experience. And now I get to use that experience and the Michael Jordan sister part as well, to tell people that you can make it. You can. I know you think you can't make it. I know you think that your life is going to take you under, but I want you to believe that God was so intentional in giving you life that he did not give you something that you can't handle. We can't handle it sometimes by ourselves. So for me, it was tapping into Christ and was tapping into the fact that, he wouldn't let me die. So I got curious enough to see why he was keeping me alive. But the same way he has a purpose for me, he has a purpose for all of us. And so there's no anger now. And then I used to be mad at my grandmom because some of my cousins always say, you got grandma spirit. And what does that mean? I didn't want to have grandmama spirit because grandmama would take everybody in. And, people in the neighborhood could come to her house and sit down with the rest of us when we ate, And, my granddad had outside kids, and until we got grown, we know they weren't my grandmoms, but they would be at the house with the rest of, on soul food Sundays. And so that says my grandma was forgiving and loving. So I saw that part of her, and I don't want that part. I don't want that part. But what I now know is, and that was some of my dad. That's who my dad emulated a lot. So I feel like now in my life, I got a little bit of both of my parents. I can be, feisty, and my mom is just as feisty as she want to be. I can be feisty when I need to, and I'm also the one out of my siblings, and maybe they do it more now. I'm not around them a lot, but I'm the one to say I love you. I'm the one to I'm the one to go back to the old friends, old neighborhood, wherever. I'm the one that hugs. So, if all of those things, and God used all of those things when I wasn't looking for him to use them, when I didn't think about them that way to help me become who I am, then I can look back on my life and say, what Satan meant for bad, God used for good.
Right.
You know, I'm not holier than thou. I have cried enough like, you should be happy that I am smiling now. Because look, I've cried my share. You know, I used to couldn't hold this conversation. I couldn't talk about the abuse without the tears coming. I couldn't talk about the pain without, you know, getting angry, you know, just to rehash it and think about what happened. Now, okay.
And you know, it's I'm talking to you, and now I'm understanding what people are saying to me when they interview me, when I do some promos and stuff, and they're interviewing me, because I just let the whole sex trafficking thing just rolls off my mouth, you know, just rolls off my tongue, and they're like, wait a minute, hold on,
Yeah.
just like I just did with you. They're like, wait a minute, you just made it sound so matter of fact, you know, kind of a thing. But when you're over it, not that you know, when I mean over it, like, okay, you made peace with it, you've forgiven people, you move on. But so are you looking now to because you already have your family, but are you looking now to create more of a relationship with your siblings? You know, when I mean more of a relationship, to change the narrative, because it seems like because of what happened in the dysfunction in the family, the siblings are not as tight or close as they should be. Or I think that
they're close to each other. They're just not close to me. And you know, and so they're close to each other. They're just not close to me. And the thing about it is, you know, I think honestly that my siblings have been put in a position, I think, and I have not talked to them about it. I mean, I wrote them letter 2010. God had me sit down and write them a letter, and I said, you know, I miss you guys, and you need to get to know me. You don't know me. You don't know me without the influence of our mother. You know, we've never sat down and so knowing me, like knowing me. I mean, honestly, I went from 1997, 98 to 2016. That's 18 years and not see Michael.
Wow.
You know, and I know, you know, here's what people need to understand. And like 2000, I went 10 years and not see my mom, not talk to my mom, you know, and my other siblings, you know, 10, 15 years, wherever. And as bad as that sounds, and my heart,
no, we're not here to do judgment. We don't do, this is a judgment-free zone. So I don't want you to think when you say something you have to defend.
Oh, well, I mean, even when I look at that sounds bad. I mean, like, no, I'm a realist. I deal with it, and I grieve some of those years. And so there again, where did I find my solace? Joseph siblings sold him into slavery. He was without them for 20 some years. You know, Cain and Abel, you know, Jacob and Esau, you know. So there's enough things in there that I found like, oh wow, I'm not the first one this happened to. But here's where I want to tell people, you get to decide how you look at your life. You look at that glass. It can be half empty if you're going to look at it from all the things that has happened to you, all the things that has been inflicted upon you, all the ways that you have been hurt. I did that for a lot of years because that's all I knew how to do. As I started to really, you know, get to know Christ, honestly, no way around it. Not, you know, I'm offering them up to anybody who wants to say, how do you get here? There's not a man. There's not a woman. There's not a human being that got me here. I started reading. It was the craziest thing. Didn't quite understand some of what I was reading, but I was just trying to feel better. And some days I was just like, Lord, help me go to sleep. And, you know, I pick up the Bible because it's a hard hard book to read, and I fall asleep, you know. And then just kept going. I know God kept me alive because the last time he literally opened a door that was locked, and you know that I talk all about that in the book, and then got them there to restart my heart. And how all that came to be, not a man, not a woman. It was Christ doing those things that we would deem to be impossible. So then you start to say, okay, why am I here? He helped me change the narrative. So this is what I want people to understand. How you look at that life, you can look at that glass half empty. When you look at that glass half empty, all you're going to see is the things that were done to you. All you're going to see is how you was hurt. All the emotions that come with that. When you look at that glass half empty, half full, you start to go back. Story of Job. I just had one of my mentees. I was just saying to her the other day, I said, I want you to go read the first 2 chapters of Job and then call me back. And and then we're gonna have a discussion. Because what I want her to know is Satan wasn't looking for Job. God offered him up. Said, have you considered? So that what that said to me, and once I got that in my spirit, it became life altering, that these things that was happening to me, God was allowing them. God, being the sovereign, omnipotent God that he is, he could have stopped my father anytime from abusing me. He could have changed his mind. When the thought centered in my dad's head, God could have threw a monkey wrench in there to change that thought. He's that powerful to do that. My mom, God says, before you were in your mother's womb, I knew you. He says that your last days, I know your ending before your beginning. I'm not saying this so people can see how much I read the Bible. I'm telling you the things that I had to feast on to get an understanding of who God was. So if God knew before I was in my mother's womb that my mom was going to be indifferent to me, if God knew that he knew my last day, which hasn't yet got here yet, but he said he knows my last day before he even gave me life, then he knows every single thing that's going to happen in that lifetime. So now I got to go back and ask him, okay, why are you letting that happen? What do you have? What do you want from me? Not what do you want me to do? What do you want from me? If you can change all of this, why me? And you asked that question, why me? Why was, for my dad, I would have said, what did you see in me was of such little value that you felt like you could take my life, take my virginity, leave me with that memory forever. So what about me was of so little importance to you? And then I could say to my mom, you had 5 kids. Why couldn't you love me? What did I do that made you not love me? Here's the problem I have with that. She might not know herself. Might not have done the work herself. I might represent something to her that she can't acknowledge. Whatever it is, if I spend my life trying to figure out why I have been dealt the hand that I've been dealt, then I'm going to spend a whole lot of time analyzing my life.
That's true.
So now I'm talking. So if I don't focus on all the whys with everybody else, and I focus on the why with Christ, because he could have changed any of this, then I'm like, okay, Lord, help me. My thing to God is hold on to me when I'm not strong enough to hold on to you. We talk about him carrying that, the footprints in the sand. Many days he carried me. I wasn't even trying to hold on to him. Didn't even think of him as somebody worthy of being held on to. I was trying to escape my life. So when you talk to the people now who's in the midst of all the throes of their life, what do you say to them? I say, get help for changing the narratives on your life. So why you do that? Half full. Oh, well, my dad abused me, but it didn't kill me. My mom rejected me, but it didn't kill me. Life was hard, but it didn't kill me. Oh, which is what God was saying to me with you're stronger in your situation. I didn't want to hear that when God was speaking that to me. Who wants to hear that? I want you to deliver me from this. And you keep telling me you're stronger in your situation. I don't want to hear that. God, I don't want to hear that from you. But ultimately, he was teaching me something I didn't know. If we tell people all the time, you're beautiful, they hear it enough, they'll start to believe it. So if he's saying you're strong enough to handle this, Deloris,
you'll start to believe it.
Somewhere along the way, so one of the things my mom says now is she'll send me a card and she says, you are such a good mother. Or she'll send me a card and she says, you're very strong. or your sin shall sin. It says you have a very good heart. So I could look at that if I let my mind go to the negative place. It could say, yeah, now, right? After all that, you did, right? You could send me, but then I'll say thank you, because she could have not sent the card at all.
Man, when I said, whew, Lord, I'm telling you, we got to bring you back on. We want everyone, if you want to check out more of what Deloris is involved in, you can go to her website. It's Deloris, DELORISE, Deloris E Jordan, JORDAN.org. So just check out her website. And also, she's on Twitter, and her Twitter is Deloris E Jordan _. So make sure you reach out to her on Twitter and just support everything that she's doing. When I say that you are just an amazing woman, you are beautiful. You're smart, you're intelligent, you're a great mom, because you and I have had several conversations. Like when we stay on the phone, we don't come off the phone.
I know, right?
You be kicking. But I just want you to know, woman to woman, I support what you're doing, and I'm so in respect, because I'd have been in jail by now. I'm gonna be honest. So, but what you are for me right now is a beacon of hope. You have to forgive, because I've forgiven the people who've done me wrong in my family. I have, but I'm one of those where don't call me, don't talk to me. I love you from a distance, and that's including my dad, that's including my father. Don't talk to me. You stay on that side, I stay on this side. I wasn't sexually abused, but some of the things I think he was ignorant to, because he married my stepmom, and a lot of things happened.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I've forgiven him, but I'm not gonna let him off the hook not doing it. Okay, so
right now,
no, it's not happening. Not happening.
Right now.
No, I look. When I say, like I said, I love him, and I only love him because of the Bible, because I was his buku. It's only because of the Bible why I'm letting him off that part of the hook. And you can't, you're supposed to honor your mother and father and all of that stuff. But when you have people who are toxic, and one of the things I do, I understand. Oh, someone said because of mercury, because I was typing when you were talking, and I was just so heated that I did a lot of typos.
What did you type?
Someone said, "Thank you, Wanda. Thank you." She said the above typos could be indicative of Mercury retrograde. Thank you, baby. Thank you for saving me on that. But what people need, sometimes we have to recognize, because put it this way, this is how I see life, Deloris. If I have a friend and we're supposed to be friends, and let's say you dog me out or you mistreat me, I'm gonna have a conversation with you. I'm gonna do that. The younger me wouldn't have. I just cut you off. I'm gonna have a conversation with you because I owe that conversation to you, because you don't know how I'm feeling. So I'm gonna give you that respect to show you, like, what you did is not cool. But if you continue to do it, I'm cutting you off. I don't want anything to do with you. I mean, because you're not showing me that love, because I'm showing you, because now I'm not showing people, I'm not allowing people to show me how they love me. I'm telling people how they need to love me.
Yeah.
That's what I'm doing. Okay. I'm not playing with that. So my thing is, and if you're not going to respect that, you're gone. So if I can do that to someone who's not related to me by blood, I am doggone sure, because I'm not giving no free passes to family. I'm not giving no free passes to family just because we related by blood. I'ma still deal with you. We're not doing that. So what I've learned to do is, what I've loved now, I've created a family, because relatives mean we're related by DNA. I get to choose my family.
Yeah.
And I'm loving the family that I'm surrounding myself with, and new women that I'm meeting, and men who are my new brothers and sisters and stuff. I just love that, because, and someone said, she's loyal. I'm loyal to my peace of mind. That's what I'm talking about. Loyalty and peace of mind. Because I know you're toxic, I don't want you around me, because I know I can get out of character. Look, I'm a Christian, I'm saved, I'm walking in Christ, but I tell people, you need to recognize what disciple or apostle you are. I am Peter. I know I'm Peter. I'm going to chop your ear off, okay?
Yeah.
Peter was very loyal, but he gonna fight, and I'm a fighter. Okay, so I'm not playing. I'm like, I'm cool, I'm nice, but see, you don't want to stir that demon up in me. And
well, I agree with that. I'm at a point, where am I in my life? I don't try to fit in my family anymore. I accept where I am. I don't go to family events. I don't try to participate. And because this is the issue, because I'm going to make you, you're not at peace with who I am. And so I'll receive you if you're coming on this end. But what I'm not trying to do is run up into your circle and then be subjected to the negative feed, the stuff that you're going to throw at me. Because now I'm at peace, and I have just sacrificed my peace to come in your circle and got to take whatever you dish at me. So I don't do that to me. I don't do that to myself. That's my gift to myself. It doesn't have to make sense to anybody else.
Right. Right.
I thought I turned it off.
It's okay. It's all. See, and that's what we need to understand, because we have to. We're worthy. People keep saying that they're worthy. Well, you got to walk the walk. You got to talk the talk. And I'm not saying you're not. I'm just putting it out there for people who they need to accept greatness. God created you in His own image, and I'm telling you, I'm going to be working on I'm going to be working on a platform. We're going to be doing something regarding family, because I'm telling you, that family dynamics is something else. I mean, it goes so deep, where if you don't change that narrative, it can bleed into your children. It can bleed into your grandchildren.
That's why you got to change that narrative, because if you don't change that narrative, you're letting that negative thing define the rest of your life. Change it. I laugh. What's important to me now? I love laughter. I love laughter. I smile. I feel like
your volume has gone down again. Mm-hmm. I can read your lips to hear what you're saying, but I'll just keep talking. So, this was a great, this is part one of what we had going on. And I know this show ran over. My interns are going to kill me. My assistant going to kill me. But it was first of all, I want to thank you for allowing me for you to share your story on my platform. We're here to share stories, shine a spotlight on things that people don't know, haven't heard, because I had a lot of people like, I didn't know that Michael Jordan had a sister, and on and on and on and on and on. And I know you hear that all the time, but we want to thank those who are watching. Thank you for being, on the platform. Again, please make sure you like and subscribe, make a comment, on the page. Make sure you subscribe to the Women Are Worthy Network. And this has just been it's been soothing for my soul. But look, I am my peace of mind. I'm not playing when it comes to my peace of mind. I will throw hands for my peace of mind. So don't forget to, tune in. We really support everyone who's supporting the Women Are Worthy show. We support you too as well. And Deloris, you have just been, Miss Deloris E. Jordan, you have just been a pleasure. And I'm glad that you gave us your journey, what you've gone through, and the person you are now. We are what healed looks like. You know what I'm saying? Because I still got my dukes up, and you walking with the cross, and that's good. We're different folks, but I love you. And then we still can't hear you, so I can read your lips, but we love you in the name of Jesus. And Wanda, Miss Wisdom, thank you for tuning in. Bridges, thank you for tuning in. And for those, please share the story, because we're going to be doing several different platforms with her, because there's so many things that she's gone through that I'm telling you, she can hit every spot. But my sister, when I say when I say you are better than me, and it's not, no, this is how I feel, because I'm still not there yet. We all have to strive to be better. I'm not there yet. I'm not there. I want to be where you are one day. That's what I'm saying, so we'll see what happens. Like you said, today, when I told you, maybe tomorrow I'll be like that. That's right. Put those boxing hands up, because I'm Muhammad Ali and Mike Tyson in one. My friends will tell you, my family will tell you, I don't take no mess now that I'm older. And I'm in such an age where, I don't have to take mess. I'm at such an age, like when you go around Big Mama and them, and you have that auntie that will spill the tea and just say anything. And then people make that excuse and say, oh, that's how Auntie TT is. I'm like that now. So anyway, without further ado, we want to thank everyone for tuning in to the Women Are Worthy Network. I had a great time, Deloris. You were phenomenal. All the people who are watching, thank you for, just subscribe, like. We're trying to build the platform. We're going to have some more amazing guests. And if you haven't watched, go back and watch our show that we had with Dawn Robinson from In Vogue. She's on the platform as well. We're going to have some more amazing people. I can't say anything because my assistant looking at me like she want to cut my neck. Like, don't say anything. Make it a surprise. So have a good night, everyone. Tomorrow is Wednesday. Have a wonderful Wednesday. Just make sure. Oh, we didn't toast. Cheers. This is my homemade celery juice. So we want everyone, and she's drinking apple juice. So the next time we're going to be drinking some real wine. So good night, everyone. Bye-bye.